Hello and welcome to my tutorial on the 4x4 Rubik's Revenge Cube. Now, I do not actually have a Rubik's brand Revenge Cube, but my cube is a Shangsha brand, and in every respect, the same cube. So, to begin, the 4x4 cube is comprised of, obviously, 4 blocks by 4 blocks, but the only real difference between this cube, solving this cube, and solving the 3x3 is there's basically 2 different steps. Well, first, you have to pair the centers, like this, and then the edges together, and then fundamentally you can solve it like a 3x3 using the exact same algorithms. And the only second different step is that there is a thing called parities that happen when you get around the yellow cross, and around the very end of the cube there's 2 parities. There's an edge parity, and there's a corner parity. And these parities prevent you from solving the cube unless you do a specific algorithm that unsolves the parity. Now, to begin, first, scramble your cube. Now that you've scrambled your 4x4 cube, the first step is to start pairing the centerpieces together. Now, as you've noticed, the centerpieces are the 4 pieces right here, and no edge piece or corner piece will ever be a centerpiece. Okay, now to begin. Most of my videos I will be solving the white side first, this being one of them. We find a white centerpiece there. We look over on this side, we see another white centerpiece. What you're going to do to pair this centerpiece with this centerpiece is a very simple step. You see, this centerpiece, considering it's on this side, you could attempt to put it in one of the positions it is missing, like this position. So it needs to be right there. So turn the face, and then move it over, but then that would move this over there. I could put it in the edge piece, but we really don't want to have opposite. We always want to have lines in the 4x4 cube. So the ideal position is to put it right there. So let's move it to the position we need so that we know when we move this over, it will form a line. You see? Now to repeat that step, it's simply visualizing where you need the piece to be, putting it where you need it to be, and moving it into the place you need it to be. Simple enough. Okay, now we have one line of the white centerpiece. So now we need to find the other centerpieces. So let's search the cube, and I find one right here and one right here. Now, I want to create a line, but I know if I, say, wanted to put this piece right up here, I could turn the face up and turn it over, but that disrupts our other line, as when I turn the face over to combine these two, it interrupts these two. So what I'm going to want to do first, visualizing like where I'm creating and piecing together my pieces and what I'd be disrupting. Now, just keeping in mind that your cube is most likely completely scrambled different and nothing like mine, but you'll have to infer from this video how to solve the 4x4 cube without solving exactly. It's not like the 3x3 where you can always solve it pretty much the same way. Okay, now, to fix this, let's call this top place the hot zone, where we know we're going to disrupt it. So let's just simply move this white piece, the white line we have, out of the hot zone. So now we can safely move this piece over, and we didn't disrupt anything over here. Okay, now, we have 2 lines facing different directions, and we need to combine them. So the easiest way to do this is just to, considering we need a top part here, or a side part here, it would be easier to make a top part here, considering, yeah. So we're going to turn this face up, so this fills the part that we need this to fill over here, and then we're just going to turn the face and combine it, okay? So that means we have completed one face, or one centerpiece. Okay, now, after the white, always flip over to the bottom of the cube and do the yellow. The 4x4 cube has no center, so you're going to have to memorize how the cube goes together, so you place it together right, otherwise your corners will not fit together correctly. As in, if you placed red on the right of blue, your corners will not fit together properly. So make sure you flip it over to the bottom of the cube, relative to the white side, as up, so you can begin building your yellow center here. Okay. We have a yellow piece here, and a yellow piece here. Simple enough as we learn to combine it. But as soon as I combine it like this, I'm disrupting this white face. So, here's the first little tidbit of information you're going to need to know. When I combine these two, I know that this top space is the hot zone, as I described earlier, but there's no way I can move this white face out of the hot zone. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to combine these two, like so, and then I'm going to move this out of the top hot zone, and then piece the white back together. You see what I did there? I just kind of moved it out of the hot zone, and then it's fine. Okay. Next part is, the next line. So, we have a piece here and a piece here. And as we notice, we haven't built any sides here, so if we piece these two together, we won't be disrupting anything. So it's just, we know we need it right here, and this is right here, so raise it up to right there, move it over. Okay, now here's a tricky part. We need to get this line up on this face, but we can't interrupt the white down here. Now, as you see, our instinct tells us to move this out of the way so we can combine the two like that, but then we disrupt the white face, and we are unable to move it out of the hot zone because the hot zone encompasses at least one half of the center, so we're unable to move it out of the hot zone. So what you're going to want to do is going to want to put them on the same axis or line so that this is on the same line as this, and then move this up here, move it out of the hot zone, and then as you see, when you move it down, you're moving this piece back into place as you're moving this piece back into place. Because when you originally moved it up, you moved this back here, so you'd pull it down. It's a pretty intuitive way to construct the first two centerpieces. So you have one centerpiece and another centerpiece now. Okay, very simple. Okay, next part of our tutorial is to pair the other centerpieces. Now this can get a bit more challenging, but this is still the easier part of the 4x4 cube. Okay, as you see here, we have an undesirable situation where we have the pieces that are supposed to be on the same centerpiece across from each other. We never want that. So what you're going to want to do is act like this doesn't exist there, and you'll just move a different piece under here, and you move that out of the way at the same time. So here's another piece of the blue, and I want it to go right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the position it would be and move it over. And we haven't constructed any centers over here yet, so we can freely move about the blue part. So then, the next part is we have this piece right here, and the other part is right here. So let's move this face and move that over there to combine the second part of our blue line. But as you've noticed, we've disrupted our other part of our blue line. So let's move this down and out of the hot zone, and then move it back. And as you notice, I moved it back 3 times, which was unconventional because I forgot which way I turned it the first time. Because you can turn it, if you know you turned it once, you can turn it any way. You can turn it back the same opposite way, or you can turn it the same way you've been turning it 3 times. Sometimes when I'm trying to solve it fast, and I forget which way, so I just kind of turn it until it matches up. So, okay, now, as I said, we've built no other centers, so we can easily combine these 2 lines. So what we're going to want to do is move that up, because it's on the bottom already, and then just combine those centerpieces. And we haven't disrupted our white, we haven't disrupted our yellow. Okay, next. On the right of blue is supposed to be the orange face, so we have to build the orange face here, and conveniently, 2 pieces, or 1 line, is already built of the orange face. So the next part we have to do is find the other pieces, which are conveniently built into a line, and align them similar to how we aligned the yellow face, in which, see, it's instinctive to put it like that, but then we disrupt the blue, and there's no way to put it out of the hot zone. So what you're going to do is you're going to put it on the same axis, or axes, whatever, and then move it up as you're like moving this into what's supposed to be the orange face. Rotate it twice to get out of the hot zone, and then move it down, completing this face and this face, or centerpieces, sorry, I keep saying face. Okay, now we have the last 2. And as you notice, we're in the most undesirable situation, because we have double crisscross on both of them. But there's a very easy way to fix this. As you see, we need a green piece right here, right? And we need a red piece right here. That way we could complete both lines. So what we're going to want to do is arrange it so we can move one thing over and get a green and red. But as you see, if I moved it over right now, we'd be in the same situation. But if I rotate this once to put my green where I want it to be, suddenly the red falls into place. So I move it over and I have two lines. Now, what I'm going to want to do is I can't completely move it out of the hot zone, but I know this side right here has to be green. So I'm just going to twist it up that way and move the green part of it back. Okay, now we have what I call a good situation, where you have 3 and 1, and then 3 and 1. Now, whenever you have 3 and 1, say it's like this, you always want to put the odd color on the bottom in some shape or form, because we're basically going to be doing the same thing we did last time, in which, like, see, there's green and red on the bottom. Now we have a red and green here, but if I turned it this way, then suddenly we have a green and red, like we have over here, green, red, green, red. So then I can move it like this and make lines, see? All you need to do is you always have to have one side on the bottom, and the other side should be on the top of the odd color. So this red's on the bottom, and it's on the green face, and the red's there, it's on the bottom. And this is on the red face, and the green's on the top. And they're in the spots that would match up, so we match it up. And now we know this has to be the red face, so we're going to move it so that when we move our hot zone back, the red will go into place. And we do that, and all of our centers of our Rubik's Cube 4x4 cube are complete at this point. The next step in solving our Rubik's Cube 4x4 Rubik's Revenge is edge pairing. Okay, now this is a slightly easier and yet slightly harder step on the Rubik's Cube. What you're going to want to do is, like, for this edge, for example, it's orange and white, and you're going to want to pair it with this other pair that's also orange and white. But each one is meant for a left and a right side, so when you pair it together, it'll be perfectly paired. Okay, to do this, you're going to want them to be opposite and flipped to each other. So on opposite sides and flipped, so that you see the white side here, but the orange side here of the white and orange. So here's our other piece, so we're going to pull this up to try to get it opposite and flipped in any way we can. Now, you will never ever mess up your centers if you only use the outer layers. You see? You'll never mess up the centers if you only use these outer layers. Like, don't move the inside when you're trying to pair edges. Okay, but see, white and orange on the right, and white and orange on the left, and on here there's the white, and on here there's the orange, which gives us the impression that they're opposite and flipped. Now, this is where you are going to mess up your centers, but you're going to quickly fix them, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to raise this side up so this edge is fully complete and combined. And then we're going to look to the side, right here, and you see this edge is a broken edge right here. See, the edges, they're not combined, so it doesn't matter what we do to it. So we're going to move this out of the way, moving this edge away, put this edge back in that edge's place, and then pull it back. And now we can recombine our centers, and as if we look here, we have a fully combined edge. But as you see, like, if I were to combine edges, like, let's find one. Okay. If I was to combine this green and white edge, I would want to, like, though there is a fixed edge here, just know whatever edge is either right here or right here is the edge that is going to get replaced with this edge. Because as you see, I'm moving this edge out of the way, this complete edge, but then I'm bringing up this bad one, and when I put that back into place, this complete edge stays safe. So, just to let you know, because when I first solved the Rubik's Cube, nobody explained to me that, so I was freaking out. Okay, but since it's already here, pull it up, complete edge, move it out of the way, broken edge, place it in, and pull your centers back together. Okay, now you basically repeat this until you solve the cube, and I will do this for you now, slower, for anybody who needs to see it. So, as you see, the blue is down there, so I just moved the face up and moved it over to put it right in this opposite and flipped position, you see? So we're going to pull that up, over, replace it with a broken edge, push it back, and pull our centers together. Okay. There's also another case that's shown here, when you get a red here, red and white here, and a red and white here, they're not opposite and they're not flipped to each other. Now, some people, like the person I learned from, showed me algorithms to get these opposite and flip to each other, but I see an easier way to this. If you turn this top face twice, then these two become opposite and flip to each other. As I can combine them there, you just have to move the cube twice. And I don't see why you couldn't do that. So, this is what I do. I have these not opposite, not flipped, so I'm going to move the top twice. And then bring it up twice. Just remember you brought it up twice. And replace it with a broken edge. But then all you have to do is bring it back twice. And you have your completed edge right there. So simple. People make it harder than it needs to be. But it doesn't really need to be that hard. Okay, now let's build this edge. It's the orange and green. And here's its counterpart. So bring that up, top over, and they're perfect position, opposite and flip to each other. Let's pull it up. And as you see here, 3 of our edges on the side that we want to pull it to, because we either want to pull it to the left or the right side every time, as you've seen me, to replace it with a broken edge. But 3 of the edges are perfect, and 1 is imperfect. So you're going to want to, this time, pull it up to a perfect edge. As you see, remember, when it's over here, when whatever edge you're replacing right here will be fine. So then we're going to put the broken edge back in its place, and that edge is still fine, and pull our centers back together. Now, as you see, this entire side is perfect, so we're not going to get any more replacements on there, unless, of course, I, like, turn the top, then I could use that broken edge if I was to pull it to the right side. Then you're going to have to pull the left side, but it's pretty much the same thing. You just pull it up, broken edge. Okay, now we're going to solve or combine the red and blue. There's the other ones right there. These are not opposite, not flipped to each other, though. So as you see here, I'm going to move the top twice, and then bring it up twice. And I have broken edges, so move it over and down to put the broken edge back in its place. And then move it over and put it back twice. Now remember, whenever you move it twice, you have to pull it back down twice. If you forget that, you'll end up with your centers like this, but it's an easy turn just to fix it. And it's really a stupid mistake. So the next corner, or edge piece we're going to pair up is this green-yellow edge, right here. Some people like to go in the order of pairing edges, as you'll see in most other videos, that they pair the whites, then the yellows, then the non-yellows. I really just pair whatever edges I see that are close to each other, and then whatever's left, you just fix that, like, because there's an algorithm to fix the last 2 edges. But I just find this easier. I'm going to pull these up, and as you see, we have a broken edge right there. So pull it over and up, and back over, putting this broken edge in place, and pull our centers back together. And sometimes you'll get really lucky when doing the cube, and when pulling your centers back together, you'll actually fix edges. And, you know, that's just a really lucky break. Okay, now these edges need to be paired together. The blue and yellow and the blue and yellow, because they're so close. So bring it up and over, as I've explained. Now, bring these edges up. Ooh, there's a broken edge up top, and there's no others on that side. So what we need to do is we need to find a perfect edge on top, and then replace it with a broken edge. And if I'm going too fast for y'all, I will later do another video if I get a lot of comments that it's too fast, and I'll go over this step in much more detail, or any other step that you guys need help on. Okay. We are not down to our last 2 edges yet. There are 4 edges. I'm just going to put it on the face so you guys can see. 4 edges that are not perfect, but every other edge that we have combined is perfect. So you're just going to pick any one you want to combine. Let's do the ones that are closest. Can I do any at this current moment? No. But if I move, I'm going to combine this one. The orange and the yellow, and the orange and the yellow. So move it up and over, just to get it in the opposite and flip position. Combine them, And then we don't have any broken edges on our left side, so let's go to the right side. And we have 2 broken edges on our right side. Let's just move it out, put a broken edge in its place, and replace your centers. Simple as that. Next, I'm going to pair the blue and orange and the blue and orange. So put it in place, put it up. You'll encounter this sometimes, where you have an edge you're trying to pair, but there's no broken edges on the right, and there's no broken edges on the left. So just for now, put your centers back together, and you see, I didn't even realize. You'll sometimes have this, and you'll have another broken edge, like back here, or something, and you're just gonna have to move that into place, so when you, or onto a left or right side, so when you, like, try to combine the edges, that you can find it down there. But I'm actually down to my last 2 edges. See, there's the orange and blue, and there's orange and blue, and that's the red and yellow, and the red and yellow. When pairing the final 2 edges, you want to hold it flat so they're on either side of you. Do whatever you need to do to your cube to get them on either side of you like this. But as you see, they're opposite and flip to each other, so I can combine those edges, or I can combine those edges. But when pairing the final 2 edges, you do not want them opposite and flipped. So if they're opposite and flipped, hold it like this, where they're both facing you and opposite and flipped, and perform this algorithm. Right, up, top, over to the left, left, up, top, over to the right, front face, down into the left, and then right side, down. And this will put your pieces opposite and flipped to one another. Then you'll perform the algorithm for pairing these edges. For pairing these 2 edges together is very simple. It is bottom 2 layers to the right, right, up, front to the left, top to the left, right, down, front, back, down to the right, and then the bottom 2 layers back over to the left. And that should combine your 2 edge pieces. And now we will continue on to the very last layer, which is actually the easiest layer to solve of the Rubik's. Now on to the final part in solving the Rubik's Revenge. It's pretty simple. The only problems you'll have are parodies. Okay, and as it says in the description and the title of this video, you must know how to solve a 3x3 cube to solve the 4x4, and I will not be teaching the 3x3 cube. But if you want, you can go down and subscribe, and I also have a 3x3 tutorial on my page. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to treat these edge pieces and these centers like you would, like, as one piece. Like, kind of reducing the cube, as it's called. This is actually a reduction method into a 3x3. So, as you see, I can just gather the white cross, which is actually the first step on the 3x3 Rubik's Cube. And as you see, I've gathered the white cross. Then, the next step on the 3x3 Rubik's Cube is to match as many middles as you can, and then match the other 2. I actually use an algorithm for matching the other 2 middles. You may use a different system, doesn't really matter as long as you do it. Then you put the corners into place, same way you would on a 3x3. This cube is essentially like a big 3x3. Okay. Just get these corners into place. Okay, now we have the white face and our essential T. So, then we're going to place the mid pieces, which is the exact same way you solve a 3x3 cube. There are no differences until you get to the end, in which you're solving the yellow cross and you get parodies. And parodies are probably going to be the hardest part about this cube. I know it took me several days to memorize parodies because they didn't come up that often. I didn't feel like memorizing the algorithms particularly. Okay, now I'll be explaining parodies as we go along. So if you don't get a parody, you should still watch it so you understand it and maybe write down the algorithm. But you should really watch it. So I'm gonna try to get the yellow cross. And as you see, we've got an L. So get that over again. And okay, this is what a normal yellow cross looks like. However, may get a yellow cross that looks like this, which really isn't a yellow cross. It's kind of like a yellow T. But as you know from a 3x3, this is impossible. This never happens on a 3x3. This happens for the same reason that the other corner parity happens later in the cube, and for the same reason that we don't have a defined centerpiece, that some pieces can move around and shift like they shouldn't on a normal cube. To fix this edge parity, it's a decently long algorithm, but it's pretty simple when you think about it. So here, I'll show you the algorithm right now. Right middle down, top over twice. Left middle down, front twice. And whenever I say twice, I won't give a direction just because you can turn it left twice and right twice, and since the cube only has 4 sides, you get it in the same place. Sorry. Left middle up, front twice. Right middle down twice. Top over twice. Right middle up, top over twice. Right middle down, top over twice, front twice, and then right middle down twice, and then front twice more. And your yellow cross should be fixed as normal. Then you can proceed to solve the cube like a 3x3 in that you're matching the middle pieces. And sorry if I'm going too fast on the part about the 3x3, but it is very simple, and you should already know how to solve a 3x3. But hey, look, we got the other parity. Okay. Here's the final parity. It's called the edge parity. And as you know, when you're placing corners in the correct place, like this, you can get one, none, or all corners in the right place. But here we have 2 in the correct place, and these 2 on the other side are in the incorrect place, because as you see, the yellow, orange, and green is in between the yellow, red, and green, and so on for the yellow, red, and green. And there's an easy way to fix this. First, face the correct corners away from you, and the incorrect corners towards you. And actually, sometimes you may get a correct corner here and a correct corner here, and these 2 are incorrect. And just do the algorithm one more time, and wait till they're on one side. The 2 correct corners are on one side, and the 2 incorrect corners are on one side. But face the incorrect corners towards you, and do this simple algorithm. Right middle down twice, top over twice. Right middle down twice, top 2 layers over twice. Right middle down twice, and then the second to top layer over twice. Now, your middles will be, 2 of your middles, the ones across each other, will be messed up, and you'll just have to perform your algorithm twice to get them back in place. And then, whenever you finish the algorithm, the corner on your right, or the algorithm I do, the corner on my right is always fixed. So then, you proceed to the final step of the cube, which is very simple. Just match the corners in the right places, and then perform your final algorithm on the cube. As long as you use the outer layers, you should be completely fine. And I know some people use a different final method than I do. I just prefer my own final method. Though I do know the other method, simply because I have to use it on my Megaminx. But this is easier for me. And with the completion of that, you have solved your 4x4 Rubik's Revenge. Now, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and check out our other videos. And thank you for watching this tutorial today.